Safety rules for motorized, Wendy Baker, Transportation Systems, 11/28/23. I picked motor because that is the transportation that I know the best and work with on a daily basis. But in picking motor, I think that might have the largest number of rules related to transportation. Just looking at rules domestically, there are also changes in rules for the interstate versus intrastate trucking. So I will only cover a few of the rules I looked up. Most of the safety requirements I found on FMCSA website, which stands for Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration. Companies that haul cargo interstate as well as hazardous material interstate have to register and have a USDOT number. Some states require USDOT number even for intrastate deliveries. This is used as an identifier for monitoring a company's safety information during audits. Commercial vehicles have a required lighting equipment. This spells out turn signals, tail lamps, clearance lights, brake lights, side marker lights, reflectors, etc. This safety rule is in place to make sure all commercial vehicles have a legally minimum requirement to make sure all other vehicles can see them and are aware of planned movements for that truck. Commercial vehicles have a maximum size for reasonable access to routes. Width of 102 inches, length of 48 foot. Some states have larger lengths allowed. This safety rule is to make sure trucks on standard routes without additional support vehicles will allow room for other vehicles to safely operate near them. Driving hours is another rule that all semi-truck drivers have to follow. This rule has a lot of variables. Maximum of 14 hours after 10 consecutive hours off. Cannot drive after 60 to 70 hours on duty in a 7 to 8 day consecutive days. The 7 to 8 days restart after a minimum of 34 consecutive hours off duty. Drivers must take a 30-minute break after driving for 8 hours. This rule is in place to try to avoid accidents caused by tired drivers. Since I have been in purchasing and worked directly with truck drivers for years, I know a lot of drivers believe these rules are too extreme and cause higher transportation costs and drastically reduce salaries that drivers can make. Semi-drivers require a specialized CDL license. This is given in the state that the driver resides. Requirement for an Indiana CDL according to IN.gov include passing a CDL written test and a skills test. The skills test exam can only be taken at a BMV authorized examination site. This skills test includes pre-trip inspection, road trip exam, and basic control skills exam. Another requirement is a medical examination. Indiana DOT physical includes vision test, hearing test, blood pressure check, pulse checks, urine test for diabetes, sleep apnea test, and an overall physical exam. Drivers can be disqualified for several mental conditions, as well as taking any Schedule I controlled substances. This includes marijuana, even if they have a prescription. This is to make sure that commercial truck drivers are physically capable and efficiently trained before getting out on the roads. FMCSA has the following requirements for drug and alcohol testing. All pre-employment, if there is reasonable suspicion, post-accident, random, return to duty, and follow-up. These safety requirements are in place to try to make sure any drivers on commercial roads are operating with a clear mind and without reduced reactions that come from many illegal substances. These are just a few of the safety rules I researched for motorized transportation. There are many more. Most of the regulations are put in place in order to keep semi-drivers as well as other drivers as safe as possible. We all need to share the roads. How long was that?